What's up? Welcome back to Kicks of the Trade, where we are bridging the gap between your casual sneaker fans and avid sneaker enthusiasts. Chris, I missed you. I'm
I missed you
excited to be
too.
back recording.
Welcome
So
back.
yeah,
We missed you. All our
good. I
all our
know.
fans missed you. You know, it was nice
Did
to have
they?
Justin on the show. He did a great job in your replacement, but there's only one
Yeah.
Kelsey, so it's good to have you back.
There's only one Kelsey Cristiano. You and Justin held it down though, so
Thank you,
I
thank you. We
I
tried.
appreciate him coming on the show. It was nice listening to him.
Yeah, it was
So
good to for me
good
and
job,
him
guys.
to catch up a little bit and just hear about his little sneaker journey. But
Yeah,
yeah, it's
yeah,
good
for
to have you
sure.
back. How was your trip? How
Thanks.
was
It's
everything?
good
How
to
was
be back.
you got some
Yeah, I
sneaker
was
stories I hear while you were
I
gone.
have
So let's hear about
I
these.
have a few sneaker stories. Yep.
Okay.
I did some traveling. It was really fun. I was gone probably longer than I needed to be gone. I was definitely
Right.
ready to come home at the end of the trip. But I think that's when you know it's like a good trip. We
Right.
got to do a lot of fun stuff. It was definitely awesome. Man, I saw so many Crocs being worn in the airport that like it kind of made me want to throw up,
I
honestly.
told you, man, I'm not about
And
that crock wave. We talked about that in the travel episode too.
yeah, we were talking about it on the travel episode because I actually took your advice. I decided I was traveling in some Jordan ones, and I liked it. They were
Mm-hmm.
comfy. I I felt cute walking through the airport and
Right,
everything like
right.
that. So
See, there you go.
um
You're welcome for
got
that.
got to snap a nice picture of my final destination wearing the same outfit that I had on for my entire travel time. But
Bathing suits
yeah,
and
a lot of
sweatpants.
Crocs, dude. I saw like a family wearing Crocs and
That's
like,
all I've been seeing is Crocs, 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 and then the Yeezy slides.
yeah, yeah. Like I don't think I saw any Yeezy slides. I saw some Yeezys definitely, but really a lot of Crocs with like the pins on them. I guess this is like kind of a
That's the thing.
cool
That Croc with the
wave
pins,
right now.
it's a thing. The pins is like almost like a badge of honor. Like if you like something, it's almost like it reminds me of those Pandora bracelets with like the little
Yeah,
charms. That's like the equivalent
yeah,
for
like
a
the
Croc.
charms.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
and I saw some other Crocs being sold here in Denver for like $500. I think they're the Bad Bunny ones. Have you seen those?
Oh, I haven't seen them, but I've heard them. I haven't seen them. I know Post Malone has one. We talked about that before, and
Yeah,
I would
yeah.
never pay $500 for a Croc. Come on now, that's
That's
just
what I'm saying. Like, no, no way. It's just a little ridiculous to me, but apparently this is kind of a
it's
thing.
the
This is a
wave.
trend.
It's
Saw a
the
lot.
wave. It's the wave. And
Yeah,
then
but
what
I
about the?
saw.
Go ahead.
Yeah, I was gonna say like I think my best kick story from the trip was this guy, man. We met this really cool guy in Belize who was running a coconut shop, and it was awesome. They would just bring the coconuts down and cut them right open and pour some rum in them, and they were so tasty. And we kind of made friends with this guy.
Hmm.
His name was Donovan. He's just this coconut shop living the dream, and he was wearing some Gatorade Jordan 6s, just busted. You could tell he was just loving those shoes. No laces. I think the sole
No
was like
laces.
close to coming off,
If
but
you
he
go to
loved
the
them.
I could tell because like the passion in his
Those
face
are
with
like,
those Jordan, he was so proud of those Jordans. Like
yeah,
it was like really nice to see that somebody's so appreciative of a pair of Jordans that's so beat up. It almost makes me feel like I need to like just destroy a pair of Jordans just to have that much love and appreciation for him. Because like
oh yeah,
you couldn't tell him nothing. Like I was like he was so proud of that picture. Like if you guys haven't seen this picture, it's on our Instagram, Kicks in the Wild. I mean, Kicks of the Trade
kicks,
podcast, but it's a
yeah,
Kicks in the Wild post. But it's literally the
yep,
essence of Kicks in the Wild. Like just wearing your shit, your shoes, loving life. Like this is the essence of Kicks of the Trade and Kicks in the Wild.
yeah. I loved it. I saw another pair too. This guy, he was like getting a breakfast burrito at this food stand in Belize, and he was wearing some Jordan 11s, and he was really proud of those too. We'll show those later.
Okay.
But yeah, fun
What's
trip,
the
fun trip.
what's the best shoe you saw the entire duration?
The best shoe that I saw in my entire duration. God, I mean, I was in the beach, like I was I was
Hmm.
in the jungle atmosphere, island life. So honestly, those were probably the two best shoes that I did see while I was out there, because like no one was really like flexing out there. There weren't a ton of tourists out and about. Yeah, and when you did, most people were wearing, you know what? I saw a lot of Birkenstocks. Like everyone was wearing Birkenstock slides.
I'm such a sneakerhead. I can't even like think of the thought of
You're
owning
like,
a pair of Birkenstocks. Like Yeezy slides are like my cap. Like Birkenstocks, Crocs, it just like burns me to my like core to even think about having one of those shoes. Watch what one of those companies want to sponsor us too. Like I doubt it, but because I rip on them too much. But
you'd probably be like, I don't know about that one. But
I can't. It would be hard for me to push them, like, and be genuine about it.
Yeah, but I didn't see a ton of sneakers being worn in the locations that I was at. Yeah, nothing like super crazy. Yeah.
That's good.
But
so you want to get into it? Let's get into
it. So today's episode is going to be all about the Olympics. We've got the Olympics that just kicked off. I've been watching a little bit. I'm excited to hear what you've been watching and some of your favorite events, and really just want to get into a conversation of some of our favorite sneaker moments in the Olympics.
The Olympics is like a big deal. Like to me, in terms of like a sneakerhead, it's a big deal because there's so much history and story behind the sneakers that, like, I'm gonna say regular people, but people who aren't sneakerheads really just don't understand. And even like a cultural, political, like just a whole change in that whole movement was like it's huge just off of sneakers and Olympics. And we're really about to touch on some of those, like some bigger than you may even be. You may not even realize how big they are. But some of my favorite sports to watch personally, I'm a basketball guy. I always love basketball. So basketball is my number one sport to watch during the Olympics. USA is really struggling right now. So that's kind of hard to watch. But I do love seeing the kicks, especially now that there's a lot of NBA players on these other teams. And these sneaker companies are really showing off for them. I know like Luka Doncic, he's getting some love. They got the Lafayette Dragon kicks, the Jordans. He has those. I love seeing Team USA. Yeah, they're like all green. They're tough. Also, just the USA's whole lineup is crazy. Like to see Dame Lillard in his own like USA, Adidas, Jason Tatum, Kevin Durant, and then also Devin Booker. So those are some of the guys I like to watch in terms of like sneaker wise. There's not really other events I watch for sneakers. But besides that, I love that. I like watching gymnastics in general.
Gotta love gymnastics. I'm bummed about Simone Biles. She just dropped out of the team events for the team events for Team USA. I don't know what that's going to look like for her individual performance, or if I think she can still compete individually.
Yeah, she's still going to compete in the individual events, but she dropped out of the team due to mental health. And you know what? I applaud her for doing that. I know she's going to take a lot of criticism. Hopefully people rally around her and understand that, yes, people train physically, but you also have to train mentally and take that into account. This woman is only 24 years old on the world's biggest stage, and she's saying, hey, I got to take a step back and take care of myself. I applaud her on that, because I know people can be like, oh, just do your thing, do what you're supposed to do and get it done. Stop being so soft. No, like mental health is a real thing. And I think we really need to take that seriously and applaud her for letting people know, you know what, I'm going to put me first and my health above like trying to appease all these other people. And she said she wasn't having fun. And I think at the end of the day, that's the most important thing about athletics, is you have to have fun in what you're doing.
Yeah, 100%. And I think that, I agree with you completely. Like I stand by her decision with that. And I can understand that she's, in the spotlight, there's a lot of pressure. And other Olympian athlete who also did something similar to her was Naomi Osaka last year, when she pulled out with the what was it, U.S. Open, right?
Wimbledon. She pulled out a U.S. Open and then sat out Wimbledon.
Okay, yeah, due to mental health issues. So shout out those ladies for putting themselves first in those situations. And Naomi was she was killing it. She got to light the cauldron for the opening ceremonies. She was wearing, was she wearing some Air Force Ones without the
I think,
swoosh?
yeah, she was. I think she was wearing Air Force Ones.
Yeah. She's a style icon, Team Nike.
I would think so.
Someone I was, yeah. I mean, Nike's got good shoes coming out for her.
Hmm.
I know that they dropped a clothing line last year for her, but I
She
was
needs to get a
excited to see
signature
her
shoe.
perform more too. I know.
Nike,
We
give
talked.
her a signature shoe. Let's stop playing. Let's stop playing with these females. You gave Andre Agassi one. Come on now. You got to give Osaka one. You didn't give Venus
Yeah,
one. So come on.
because what was
Don't
it
drop the
considered?
ball in this.
The blazers that they had for her
Hmm.
last year. I don't know if you saw those. Um they were blazers,
I
but I guess
saw them.
that's not
It's
considered
not
a
a
signature
signature
shoe. It's
shoe.
just a
No.
it's just
It's a
like a
collab.
team up
It's
collab.
a PE, a player edition.
Yeah, yeah.
So it's like she needs her
So
own
big
signature
difference.
shoe. Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Before we get into some of our favorite moments in this Olympics for 2020, that's 2021.
Hmm.
Chris, what are some of your favorite, like, in the past historical sneaker moments as it relates to the Olympics?
Yeah. So I think the first one that really stands out, and I think the most important one, is Jesse Owens with Adidas. Now, this story is pretty major in terms of just history itself. So, in 1936, this was like the Hitler Games in quotations. I don't want to give him praise, but these were the Nazi Olympics. And
Yeah, I
Adi
mean, it was
Dessler,
so important to their culture to like perform on a
correct,
world stage.
correct.
Yeah.
So this was a black man, Jesse Owens. If you're not familiar with Jesse Owens, he's a black track star, dominated the track at this time. 1936, goes to Germany during Hitler, Nazi Germany, and wears Adidas. Now, the reason why this is significant is because Adi Dessler was a German, but he was anti-Hitler, which was like super rare back in that time. Like everybody was like super supportive of Hitler. So for him to be anti-Hitler and give a black man his shoe to run in was huge, monumental. So that was, I think that has to be like one of the biggest moments, if not the biggest moment in Olympic history, let alone in Olympic sneaker history. So for me, I'm not going to rank them like 1, 2, but that one stands out in my mind the most because of just how much chutzpah, if you're not familiar with chutzpah, balls it takes, or courage. Let's use the word courage, but how much courage that takes to, first of all, you're already in the Olympics, which is enough pressure as itself, but then you're going to wear an Adidas shoe and a guy who's outwardly opposing Hitler in Hitler's country during the Olympics, man, that takes courage, man. So shout out to Jesse Owens. And then he goes and dominates and wins like 4 or 5 gold medals in the Olympics and just dominates the competition in these Adidas. So to me, that's like one of the most iconic moments that stands out. I have a few more, but I'll let you say it. I'll let you give.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I think that is a huge moment because when you look at like the development of sneakers and where they really started, it was so much on like the track and field,
Mm-hmm.
I don't know, track and field stage
Realm. Yeah, realm. We'll use realm.
realm. Yeah. And I think another big moment, because Adidas really dominated in the track and field world for so long, especially after that moment. And I think another pivotal moment was for me that I've really enjoyed learning more about was in the 1968 Olympics. It was the Mexico City Olympics. And again, another tiff with the Puma Adidas thing, because obviously Puma was Adi Dassler's brother. So
Mm-hmm.
they've butted heads pretty much their entire lives. But this is a shoe came out. It was called the Brush shoe. It was a red track spike made by Puma, and they switched it up. At the time, I think you could only have 8 spikes in your track shoes, and they were super innovative and put 68 spikes, like
Jesus.
spikelets, in the Brush shoe. And people were breaking all sorts of records with this shoe, and it was John Carlos who was running in it, Tommy Smith, and what happened was they actually didn't allow this shoe to be used in the Olympics because there were 68 spikelets in it, breaking the rule of 8, and they wouldn't. There's this big like controversy with it that Adidas basically like blackmailed them into not being able to use that shoe at the Olympic trials. So there's a little sneaker controversy for you. That John Carlos, who took the bronze medal, and Tommy Smith, who won gold that year, both still ran in Puma. And if you see that picture of the two of them on the podium with their fists up,
iconic
you
moment.
know, as
super iconic moment.
A very, very iconic moment for Olympics history. And they've got their Pumas right there at the bottom of the stand. They're both standing barefoot, and the Pumas are right there on the podium with them. So
Olympic
I think that was a pretty,
civil rights history, because it was, I mean, there was a lot of tension in the United States at that time. You know, like blacks didn't have
100%
equality, so he wanted to show, hey, solidarity with all the other blacks. And you know what?
Because they were so celebrated in athletics, but there was all these racial issues at home. But you know, as an athlete, that was a big moment.
They talk about this moment, but there's one thing they don't talk about this moment. They got stripped of their medals after that.
Yeah, they were banned. I mean, they were definitely punished for that moment.
So they took. So I really applaud them for doing that, because to work your whole life, win gold, and then you hold up a fist to show solidarity for equality for your people back at home, and you lose your gold medals, man, like that's the ultimate like martyr move. Like, you know, it wasn't no big heavy endorsements after that. Like Kaepernick, like, don't get me wrong, Kaepernick, what he did was awesome, but like he got paid after it. Like he got paid. Like those two guys, they didn't get nothing when they got back. Like nobody's giving them endorsements. They weren't getting like all this like heavy praise. They weren't getting out sneakers. They didn't get their own line of clothing. Like they lost their medals, and they pretty much lost everything after that. Now, are they iconic? Yes, but I mean, man, like that's the ultimate sacrifice to get your message across.
100%. So that was a big moment for me to learn more about as we look at, you know, sneakers throughout history and how they've impacted and changed over the years. So that was a huge moment. One of my favorite moments to look back on, even though I wasn't around for it.
Right. My next one is, it goes back to like you can't think of the Olympics and be American and not think of the dream team. So mine has to be the dream team, because there were so many fire kicks on that roster. It is insane. So like they dominated on the court, and then they dominated with style, and then they dominated with footwear. They were rock stars in the Olympics. Like they kicked everyone's butts. And
that was the first year that they were allowed to have NBA players in the Olympics.
And they show why we're the best. But they also, what they also did was they sparked interest in basketball across the world. Now we're seeing, like, that's why we have the Luka Doncic. That's why we have like the Peja Stojakovic's and all those guys overseas, because of these guys came in this, they globalized basketball to a point that we've never seen before, with Michael Jordan in the Olympic 7, still an iconic shoe to this day. I have that shoe, love it. One of my favorites. I have 2 pair in rotation right now. So the Olympic 7s, they got the Barkley 180s. So those Barkley 180s, one of the first shoes to have like that air bubble around the bottom. And then also those Pippins. So with the air, the Pippins with the air on the side, like remember the up-tempo Pippins with the big air on the side? He wore those.
No.
Oh, you haven't seen those, the up-tempos? Oh, you got to see them. So
I don't think so. Well, they're not ringing a bell right now, but.
So Scottie Pippen came out with a shoe, and he wore them in Olympics, and it has air, like huge on the sides. And he wore those in Olympics, but those were like one of the hottest shoes, 3 hottest shoes in America. And then the best basketball team in America was wearing them. So they went on to win gold and just dominate. And they also dominated the shelves with the sales of those sneakers. So that's my next big moment in sneaker history. The Olympics.
And bouncing off on that too, I mean, this is not necessarily related to sneakers, but Michael Jordan, when he was on the podium, that was the time that they draped the flag covering up the Reebok.
He did. The
Reebok logo.
But that's Michael.
So obviously, like Team Nike, like he's like, I'm not gonna try to promote another brand.
He's so Team Nike that like that was a conscious thought in his head. Like I don't care. Like I'm thinking about, like, yes, I just won gold medal, but I'm about to cover up this Reebok so they don't get no pub off of me, because I'm all Nike's checks checks till I die. Well, Jumpman till I die. But that's crazy to think about. Like you're so business minded. Like, no, I'm wearing this flag over this Reebok sign.
Sorry.
Okay.
Should I call out the fact that I don't have my headphones on anymore for people that are watching on YouTube or fucking what?
They probably won't even notice.
Yeah. Okay. Should I keep going?
Yeah. I mean, we could edit all this out.
Yeah. Okay. And so jumping off of that, another really cool moment I thought was when I'm fucking
we got all that.
We got all that. So where am I jumping?
We got all that, but you said something about like after I said he dripped the flag, he was so business minded. You said something else.
Oh, because I was going to talk about Reebok re-releasing those.
Oh yeah, say
jackets.
Say that.
Okay. And another thing that I don't know if you saw this or not, but Reebok actually, when Last Dance came out, re-released those Reebok track jackets, and they did like a little spin. Yeah, so they actually started selling these again because it was kind of obviously being aired on Last Dance, and they switched where the logo went because they had made a little comment during the airing of Last Dance that was like, we would have preferred for you to put the flag over your right shoulder or something like that.
Right.
So they switched the side that the logo went on. So they got their little marketing moment there, I guess.
They make some money off that. That's smart.
20 years later. Huh?
That's smart. That's very smart.
Yeah, very smart.
So what's your next moment in the Olympics that
man, I think another so 1996, Michael Johnson, sprinter, the gold spikes.
Woo!
He wore these flashy Nike gold spikes. And then later on, Usain Bolt, I think it was in the 2008 Beijing Olympics. Usain Bolt beat his record and in some gold Puma spikes.
Well, they started that whole wave of the gold. Like Michael Johnson did something a lot of people didn't realize is that he really made it cool to wear the gold spikes, but it's also a bold statement to say, I'm gonna go out here and win gold. Look at my kicks. Like that's a bold statement to make. Like, yeah, I'm wearing gold because I'm bringing home the gold. Like that's a confident flow, and I like it. I like it.
Oh yeah.
Because you can't wear those. 100%. You can't wear those and get bronze or silver. Like you have to win.
But like you just it just wouldn't look all that right.
No.
I mean, I'd still take silver, but like.
And then now you're
putting the pressure on.
Yeah, and now you're seeing the gold. Like right after that, I think Nike released like a gold Air Max, and it's kind of more of like a common thing. But like Michael Johnson started that whole wave.
Yeah, I actually wore gold track spikes when I ran track as well.
I did not.
Not fully gold. That was probably really bold on my part. They just had a little bit of gold accents, but
my son has gold. He has gold football cleats.
Really? Yeah. I mean, it's like it's normal now, but at the time.
It was
that
like
was
crazy.
A huge, bold statement.
Yeah. That Olympics had a lot going on there because also in that 96 Olympics, that's when Cheryl Swoop's shoe first came out. That was the first women's signature basketball shoe. So she debuted those in the 96 Olympics, which was awesome because those shoes are fire. And it was cool to see a woman with her own signature basketball shoe. So like that was ahead of its time. So and then they went on and dominated. So like, I don't know, like they picked a good time to debut those sneakers because the world's watching. It's a great time to debut a sneaker.
Once you put on a sneaker and it's being shown on an athlete, like that's, I mean, a huge moment for that shoe. Like everyone's gonna remember like kind of like what shoes they were wearing. So man. What other Olympic moments do you remember?
One of my favorite as of more recent, I guess recent, it was like 20 years ago now. But like my childhood was, remember when Vince Carter dunked over the Frenchman?
Dunk.
Man, I remember when that shoe came out, everybody was trying to dunk on everybody with that shoe. So he was wearing the Shocks. So that's when the Shocks had just dropped. And everybody, because I was working in a clothing store, and everybody's like, yo, do the shoes really make that noise? Because the commercial, everybody would be like, boing, 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 boing. And then you hear somebody take off. No, the shoe doesn't make the noise. But, man, they didn't market that shoe like that. But just seeing Vince Carter do something so athletic in a shoe that you market it as like technology with a spring in it or like some type of shock in it, that's crazy. And then for somebody to do that, you're like, it sells itself after that. You don't even need a commercial. That was it. On the most athletic move, one of the most athletic moves we've ever seen in basketball, let alone in sports. And then you have that shoe that's supposed to make you jump higher and run faster, but it really doesn't. It didn't market it that way, but it makes you to feel that. And to see him do that,
it makes you
it sells itself. It sells itself.
Yep.
And then you talked about the Usain Bolt one in the gold. I think another one for me is the Hyperdunk, the Redeem Team. So that's when the USA won bronze in the Olympics, and everybody's like, "Yo, USA is falling off. USA don't have it anymore. They're not the dream team." Boom, boom, boom. Then they get these superstars, like they get Kobe, LeBron, D Wade, Carmelo Anthony, Chris Paul, all the top guys committed to play, which is like super rare these days now. They all committed to play because they wanted to put USA back. Or Melo. Did I say Melo?
You just say Melo.
They wanted to put all those guys back on the map, or put USA, back on the map. And they're like, no, we committed to play. And the Hyperdunk was the shoe of that time. Like it had like the USA insignia on it, like a lot. And that was, I think that the Beijing Olympics. So it had like a lot of Asian accents on it, but those kicks were super fire. Like they're insanely fire. So
yeah,
I think those were the biggest ones for me personally.
I also liked with the in 2016 the men won gold, and they were wearing like the neon Flyknit.
They
were
at
like
the podium,
green, like yellow neon.
Yep, at the podium, those were fire. Because that's when that whole like neon shoe wave was around, like from 2012 to 2016, like that whole neon shoe wave, which was a big deal. Have a shoe that bright with like the standard red, white, and blue was like a contrast, but it worked. It worked, you know, and it sold that shoe. Like I don't remember exactly what that shoe was, but I saw a lot of people wearing it after that, and wearing that and comfortable wearing that color. A lot of people were comfortable wearing that color after that, before that.
Yeah. And it kind of draws some parallels to what you're seeing now with Team USA. I know we'll kind of get into some of what we're seeing in today's Olympics, but the Nike's obviously the main sponsor for Team USA here. So they're doing all the podium, if I'm not mistaken. Like podium uniforms.
Most of it, yeah.
Most of it, yeah. And then I really like. I think the winner in terms of this year's
let's hit that
Olympics. What?
No, I say go ahead, hit on that topic.
Yeah, I think the winner for me is Nike SB's collaboration with Para. Para, is that how you say it?
It works either way.
he's a Dutch Para. He's Dutch designer, right? I'm
not sure, but his stuff is always fire, and he snapped on his Olympics.
So he developed the skateboarding uniforms. So they've got
for a lot of countries that are Nike.
Okay, so he's developing all the uniforms for the countries that are wearing Team Nike or part of Team Nike. Okay. Yeah, they're pretty sick. They're like white, orange, crimson colors. Nike's theme for that was Raudacious. Did you see that?
I did not.
That's like for those uniforms.
Raudacious.
They're pretty raudacious, tubular. I thought it was dope to watch skateboarding in the Olympics for the first time.
I know. I think it's dope too. Those uniforms, I definitely want to cop a USA one. Those are just so fire. I think all the countries, they did a good job. The Pata Dunks they have coming out, the SBs are fire. I'm definitely going to
Those come out on Friday.
I'm definitely going to try to cop. Absolutely, for sure, 1,000%, without a doubt. However you want to say book it, I'm going after them. Also, what I want to do is I want to shout out 3-on-3 basketball. This is the first year 3-on-3 basketball is an Olympic sport. And I was actually one of the people who, like, one of the original people who played 3-on-3 for USA. So I do want to shout out to seeing. Yeah. Me, my guy Derek Griffin, Corey Campbell, Patrick Hanaway. We were one of the original 3-on-3s teams for USA. Yeah.
Wait, I want to talk more about this.
Yeah. We could talk about that a little bit later. We ain't got that too much time left on today's episode. But yeah, it's just cool to see from where it was to where it is now. We were just playing just 3-on-3 events, world 3x3 world championship events. And yeah, so it's cool to see. And you know what's messed up? USA didn't even qualify for 3-on-3.
The women's did. The women's killing it.
They lost to Japan.
The ladies are holding it down.
They are holding it down. We need to win it. I don't know who's going to win on the men's side. I'm going to take a wild guess, and I'm going to go with Serbia. Serbia has a really good 3-on-3 team for the men's. Women's, I'm going USA all the way. USA, we got to start stepping up.
Well, okay, yeah. That was pretty embarrassing. They went on that France went on a 16-2 run to close out the first game. I was like, guys, what is going on?
I don't know.
What is going on? But I have a question for you because I didn't know that you played 3-on-3 basketball with the U.S. men's team at one point. Mm-hmm. So who can qualify for that team? Like, are they allowed to have NBA players on that team?
So, okay, that's a good question. They didn't want to have NBA players on that team because they wanted it to be like the common guy playing or common people
a little bit
playing.
More.
Yeah, okay. Playing in it. On the men's side, the women's side, they're using pros. They're using pros on the women's side. But they didn't want to bring the pros to the men's side because there's like a bunch of qualifying tournaments you have to do to get in. And USA lost. But I'm going to tell you like this. They haven't said it yet, but they're going to go to NBA players. They just the USA Olympic Committee doesn't like us losing. And if they could prevent that and bring in NBA players, like you'll see like a great 3-on-3 player, you'll see like Trae Young, possibly, Ja Morant. Zion Williamson would be real good as a 3-on-3 player. The only issue is you might see with those NBA guys is it's outside and they use sport court. So those can be one of the reasons why you may not see NBA guys unless they bring it indoors. If they bring it indoors or they have like a hardwood,
because they have a different type of court, is what you're saying.
Correct.
Right? Yeah.
So you're more susceptible to injuries. So you kind of want to prevent that. So I think that's why you might not see NBA players so much.
Yeah, that makes sense. And I think that so can you see like overseas players?
Yeah.
Are they
I think
eligible for that?
I think you'll see, as long as they're American, just like any other place. I think you'll see.
Yeah, like overseas.
I think you'll see like.
No, keep going.
I think you'll see like, I think that what they're going to do first is bring the top college prospects in. So like you'll see like the Cade Cunninghams or the Jalen Greens, those type of guys playing in Olympics for 3-on-3 first before they use like superstars. I mean, like LeBron's done, Chris Paul's done, but like I can see guys like Trae Young, like not the super high top tier guys, but like a CJ McCollum, like a Michael Porter. Michael Porter Jr. was actually the ideal 3-on-3 player because he can play all positions. He's long, he can play the post, and
he got that corner three.
He can shoot from the outside. Ben Simmons would play for Australia, but Ben Simmons would not be a good 3-on-3 player because he can't shoot from the outside, but he can attack the basket. So that's what they like too.
And
but
he's big. Shows up. He forgets to show up in big moments.
He's a big guard though. That's what they like. Big, like 3-on-3 is ideal for big guards and people who can guard every position. Like Jason Tatum would be an ideal player as well. So
yeah. Cool things to come.
So go for USA.
What'd you say?
I want the goal for USA. Like we need to start winning again.
I know. Yeah, men's game 2. I mean, it's not over for them yet. No. I think they play Iran on Thursday. So we'll see what happens then. I'm excited to see track and field get kicked off.
Yeah. Most exciting thing to me. That's one of the most exciting events is the track and field, the whole thing. So
yeah, it's so crazy watching it. Like I don't know. I'm getting confused because like it's kind of interesting to see the results before you see a lot of these games going on because of the social media and the time difference with Japan. And I'm like confused as hell, like trying to figure out like what is the most recent thing on my like TV because I've got them all like recording and stuff, so I can go back and watch them later. But I'm like, did this happen like 2 days ago?
Right. So I'm struggling with that too. It was easier when there was no social media.
Yeah, for sure. I think so as well. Because now it's just like we're getting all this like constant information. But yeah, I think what you got anything else today is a wrap for today?
No, that's it. That's all I got. USA go for the gold, and maybe we'll have maybe I might get Derek and Corey up here to talk about their 3-on-3 experience. Because they played longer than I did. I left a little bit earlier than they did, and they got a little bit deeper in the USA. So I think it'd be cool if we got them on the show and to talk about the like USA experience and what it was like to be a Olympic athlete, well, an American athlete representing our country.
Yeah, no, that would be dope. Okay, before we leave, we got 2 good shoes coming out this week. You're already going for the Para SB Dunks. We know that.
1000%.
You copping or dropping these Travis Scotts that come out?
Absolute cop. Like, look, you can't afford it. This is one of those times where you just can't. You got to shoot the shot.
Oh yeah. I'm excited to see those come out. What is it? Thursday? They come out Thursday.
Are you going out for both?
Yes, I will do everything that I can to make it happen. We'll see though. I don't know. It's gonna be a long shot. All right, guys, that's a wrap for today. Thanks for tuning into Kicks of the Trade. I'm your girl, Kels. You can find me on Instagram at Kelsey Cristiano. No H in Cristiano, like Cristiano Ronaldo. And give us a follow at kicksofthetrade.podcast. You can also find us on Twitter. Shout out to Nightport Media. They've been doing an awesome job mixing us and getting the audio right. So give them a follow and check out my man Chris. Shout it out.
_Hollows. And then House of Trade _INC. Yeet.
Yeet.
It's a wrap.